One main program we use in the construction stage of media products is Photoshop. I watched 2 YouTube tutorials which taught me how to practice using masking and rendering tools. I then used Photoshop experiments to practice creating a realistic reflection image on an eyeball and then a gas mask lens. For our film poster, I used what I had practiced on the final production. Using the masking and rendering tools, I was able to blend 2 images together and layer a shine texture over the top to create the full reflective image of a gas mask lens. We also used Wix.com to create the website. I added a video background of the flare, organised the layout of the menu, social media links in the teaser placement, as well as adding the animation to the menu buttons and matching the colour and font to our colour scheme, which continues the red, black and yellow colour scheme we already planned, which made it look more professional.
When researching the post-apocalyptic genre, I found that posters had common conventions such as using gas masks and having the face protruding from the side. This required editing to enhance the link to the genre, so to get the same effects in a similar design, I tried and tested Photoshop to help with the editing skills. For our poster, I found a stock photo of a black wall to set as the background, and over this added a photo of one of the gas masks that we used, erasing the wall from the photo so that I was left with the mask against the black wall. To make it seem more integrated and less stuck on, I started by making the black wall darker, as it was too bright, and added a subtle hint of yellow to the gas mask in the background, to suit our colour scheme, as well as painting the yellow parts of the gas mask brighter. Next, I debated whether to use text as graffiti on the background or a picture, so trialled the text first, using the words Danger Zone in a handwritten font so it looked natural. I made the font bold and yellow, erasing certain parts of it so that it looked worn down and like part of the wall. However, I was worried about the fact that the writing would seem like part of the text and titles used on the poster, so I opted for the yellow toxic symbol, which I used a spray brush for and wore away once again so it looked like real graffiti. Using Photoshop really helped to create an effective poster that fit the common conventions of the genre, overall well suited to our full promotional package.
I was tasked with the job of creating typography for our poster, website and teaser trailer. For inspiration, I researched other multimedia platforms such as the 2013 apocalyptic video game The Last of Us, which for its title used impact font, simplistic glowing white cracks throughout, to show that the trailer suggests the virus spreading. The impact font was a common typography font used in apocalyptic films such as Mad Max and The Divide, due to it being a bold, representing an action-packed film. I decided to use this, opening Photoshop as my editing software, as it offered a variety of creative ways that I could distort my typography. I focused on symbolising our narrative of an airborne virus. I did this through using simplistic white impact font and used an overlay of birds and trees and branches, which added to the desolate, lack of hope theme, conforming to the conventions of the apocalyptic movie. I also distorted the text by adding a blur filter to make it hazy and cold. Upon peer feedback, which reviewed the blur, made it hard to read, despite it offering a symbolic representation of the lack of hope within an apocalyptic world. I edited the typography, removing the blur so the audience could read it easier.
To our audience, it was unclear to them of what caused the apocalypse, so we found that some exposition to the audience was required. Through research films like The Road and Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, we found that they both tell of the past events that caused the world they live in today through radios and projector slides. We decided that a modern way to tell what happened, we used a montage of global news to show how serious it was, which were the baby steps for the audience to tell them that there was an outbreak of a virus that could not be cured, caused by pollution. To do this, we included modern events like diseases such as Ebola and the new President of America. Our use of President Trump included taking diegetic audio for his speech at a Republican candidate debate, in which he says about vaccines that they are a total disaster and out of control. We then took his first weekly address as president, to which we would remove the audio and place the diegetic sound in time with his lips to make it seem like he was talking. But in order to get it more realistic, we placed over filters to make it seem distorted and like it was a part of history, as well as changing the audio to make it sound from a radio.